Wisconsin yields back. Chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Georgia. Ms. Williams, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Hill and Ranking Member Waters, for having this conversation today. And thank you, Mr. Secretary, for joining us. Mr. Secretary, you noted in your introductory letter to the 2025 FSOC report that the Council has formed a new household resilience working group that will focus on American households' financial condition. Well, Mr. Secretary, as the Congresswoman for Atlanta, I'm here to make sure that that includes all families. As you noted, financially resilient households can better withstand shocks, maintain essential consumption, and avoid costly debt cycles. Discrimination in lending or in investment impacts growth opportunities for Black-owned small businesses, which means discrimination is, in fact, a threat to American financial stability. Atlanta has the largest racial wealth gap in the country. Supporting entrepreneurship and access to capital within the Black community can help close that gap, Mr. Secretary, but I need your help. Small businesses like those in the Fighting Fifth are critical to building and maintaining household wealth. Per Brookings from 2017 to 2022, the number of Black-owned businesses surged, representing over half of all new employer businesses. In 2022, Black-owned firms with at least one employee added $212 billion with a B in revenue to the economy and paid over $61 billion in salaries. More broadly, over the last 10 years, minority business entities comprised approximately 50% of new businesses started in the United States and created 4.7 million jobs. According to the U.S. Census, there are over 9.2 million minority-owned companies in the U.S., employing 8.7 million workers and generating more than $1.8 trillion in annual revenue. However, Mr. Secretary, there are significant barriers blocking sustainability and growth of Black entrepreneurship. That's why I launched a Small Business Advisory Council in my district to hear directly from small business owners in my district. Because access to capital, as we heard in all of the conversations, continues to be one of the biggest challenges that these small business owners face. The first major hurdle for Black entrepreneurs in starting their business is a lack of startup funds, equity, and collateral, a result of the racial wealth gap. During the Biden administration, the Minority Business Development Agency delivered $7.1 million in funding to Georgians through its business centers and capital readiness programs. But President Trump signed an executive order continuing the reduction of the federal bureaucracy, directing the destruction of the Minority Business Development Agency. Mr. Secretary, what steps has FSOC taken to assess the impact of discriminatory lending and investment practices on Black small business owners and the stability and growth of the economy overall? And how does FSOC factor discriminatory investment practices into its assessment of threats to our economy?
We do not view that as a financial stability concern, but I do view it as a concern, and as I've repeatedly said, that we would be willing to work with you on tailoring for banks in your community to give them more lending power, because what we have seen is that with 50% of the small banks that have disappeared, I don't have empirical data, but I can tell you that my strong hunch would be that many of those would have been minority banks. So we would like to see more de novo banks, whether they are in Black communities in Atlanta, whether they are in Latino communities, whether they are in Asian communities.
So, Mr. Secretary, you don't think dismantling the Minority Business Development Agency had any impact on the U.S. economy at all?
Very difficult to tell in a complicated multivariable economy what impacts, whether it's good or bad, for the aggregate versus the individual.
Mr. Secretary, I'm here to be the voice of the people that sent me here, and I welcome you to join me in Atlanta, and I would love to introduce you to some of these small business owners that have been greatly impacted by this dismantling. Also, in the 2025 FSOC report, placed a premium on deregulation and demonstrates the administration's optimism about the use of AI to make financial institutions more efficient. As you noted, AI used properly could provide numerous benefits to financial institutions by enabling them to provide innovative services cheaper, faster, to a broader set of customers and under very economic conditions. For example, currently, some lending institutions are using AI to evaluate a customer's credit worthiness through alternative data, such as cash flow history. And I see my time is about to expire, but my question is, Mr. Secretary, what proactive steps does FSOC recommend regulators take to combat lending discrimination, which may be compounded through the use of AI, as banking institutions
Gentlewoman's time has
increasingly use AI
expired.
to make lending decisions?
And
I would love that answer.
we
from the record.
invite the Secretary to respond to your question.